Yo, what's up everyone? Patrick here, welcome back. And in this next video, what we're gonna do is get a little practice in dealing with cross multiplication. So what we gotta do is solve for x in these 6 equations here. So starting with number 1, I'm gonna erase these here, I'll bring them back later. We got 3 over x equals 5 over 7. So 3 over x equals 5 over 7. Now when you're cross multiplying, what you want to try to make sure is that you have one fraction on each side. And notice that in this case we already do, so you could get straight into cross multiplying. So you would do 7 times 3 equals 5 times x, which is just 5x. So then we'd have 21 equals 5x, and then when you want to isolate for the x, you divide both sides by 5, so x would be 21 over 5, right? So that would be the answer to number 1. Now, notice in number 2, we have 2 fractions on the left side. And so what we want to do is try to get one fraction on each side. So because this and this, they're both numbers, they don't have variables, I'm going to bring the 2 over 5 over to the right side. So we would have 7 over 10 minus 2 over 5, which would be 7 over 10 minus 4 over 10. If we get a common denominator, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2. And so we would end up with 3 over 10 on the right side. And we still have x over 3 on the left. And so from here, now we have one fraction on each side. We could cross multiply, so we'd have 10x equals 3 times 3, which would be 9. X would be 9 over 10. So sometimes there's going to be a little bit of algebra in between that you have to do before you get into the cross multiplying. Over here, it's just one fraction on each side, so we can just get straight into cross multiplying here. Now, you got to be careful. This is a whole expression, so you're multiplying 2 by that whole thing. And then we got 4 times 3, which would be 12. In multiple ways we can go about this. We could distribute in the brackets, so we could do 2x plus 6 equals 12. So 2x would be 12 minus 6. Divide both sides by 2. X would be 3. Another thing we could have done is we could have divided by 2 at this point. So we'd end up with x plus 3 is equal to 6. X would be 3. Right? Multiple ways you can go about it. So x in this case in equation 3 would be 3. You could also check your answer with these. So notice that if we plug in 3 here, what would we end up with? We'd end up with 6 over 4 on that left side, and then we have 3 over 2, and then when we simplify the 6 over 4, that would end up being 3 over 2. If we divide the numerator and denominator by 2, right? So the left side and the right side should equal when you take your x value you got and plug it back into the equation. Moving on to number 4. Again, one fraction on each side, so we can get into cross multiplying. So 7 times x would be 7x, and then we'd have 5 bracket x plus 4, like that. Now notice in this case, if we divide both sides by 5, we're not going to get a smooth number here. So what I would recommend is distributing the 5. So we'd end up with 5x plus 20. Bring the 5x over, so we'd have 7x minus 5x, which would give us 2x. So in this case, x would be 10. So that would be the answer to number 4. And again, you could check your answer. You could plug in 10. Notice if we plug in 10 here on the left side, 10 divided by 5 would give us 2. 10 plus 4 is 14. Divided by 7 would also give us 2. So we can be fairly confident that x equals 10 is the correct answer. Moving on to number 5, we got 4 over 5 equals x minus 2 over x plus 2. Again, one fraction on each side, so we can go straight into cross multiplying. So we'd end up with that right there. And so this would end up being 4x plus 8 equals 5x minus 10. Then what I'm going to do, it doesn't matter which side you bring the variables to, I'm going to bring them to the right side to make the final coefficient positive. So notice 5x minus 4x would give us 1x. Bring the negative 10 over. 8 plus 10 would give us 18. So that's the final answer to number 5. And then number 6, cross multiply again. Like that, so we'd have 8x plus 24 equals 5x plus 45. And then I'm going to bring the 5x over, so we'd have 8x minus 5x, then we'd have 45 minus 24, like that. So we'd end up with 3x. Over here we'd end up with 21. Divide both sides by 3. X would be 7. And again, you could check your answers. So if I plug in 18 here, on the right side, I would end up with what? 16 over 20. Notice we could divide 16 by 4, which would give us 4. Divide 20 by 4, which would give us 5. Notice we get that same left side. Then over here, 7 plus 3 gives us 10. Divided by 5 would be 2. 7 plus 9, 16 divided by 8 would also give us 2. So we could be pretty confident that those are the correct solutions.